Right, before we begin, I want to discuss spoilers. This video is focused on Tape 2 that released last week. I did a video a couple months back on Tape 1, so make sure to watch that too if you're looking for a discussion on the full game. We will be discussing spoilers in this video, but not immediately. I will let you know before the heavy stuff. Look, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you guys, this video isn't going to be as structured as my videos usually are, and that's because I'm kind of a bit at a loss for words with this one. It is so rare that I finish a game, especially one I was this excited for, and just do not know how to feel at all. How can I objectively analyse a game when I'm not even sure how I feel about it? So this video, we're going a bit more off the cuff. Usually my videos are structured video essays, but this one is going to be more of a conversation. I'm just talking here. Before I start talking though, if you do end up enjoying the video, then please consider subscribing, as we are trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. But enough of that nonsense, let's get into Tape 2 of Lost Records. So, if you did watch my Tape 1 video, then you'll know that I was in love with Lost Records' Bloom and Rage. I loved the characters, I loved the vibes, I loved the music, and whilst I did note the slow pace of the story and the lack of meaningful decisions, I didn't mind this as much in Tape 1, as long as Tape 2 delivered on the setups of Tape 1, and after spending a lot of time thinking about this, I finished the game the day after it released and I'm only just getting around to making the video now. I don't think it left me feeling satisfied with how things turned out. But before we get on to that, I want to talk about the stuff I really liked in the game, and the first thing that comes to mind is obviously the music. It's basically the soul of the game. Don't not clearly get what the 90s sounded like, especially that gritty, angsty, riot girl indie rock vibe. It hits hard if you've ever been a teenager feeling like the world didn't quite understand you. The songs they chose, both the original and licensed songs, don't just set the tone, they are the tone. They help you connect with the girls, especially when you see how important music is in their friendships and their identities. You're not just listening to their songs, you're living within their soundscape. What's really cool is how the music isn't just part of the vibe, it's woven directly into the story. The girls of course formed a band, Bloom and Rage, and you really feel like you're part of the crew, which makes everything a lot more emotional when things inevitably start to get complicated. It's not just nostalgia for nostalgia's sake either. The game uses music as a way to explore how we remember things, how we grow apart, or back together, and how creative expression helps us survive tough times. There's a real sense of that the past lives live on in these songs that they made, and that's a really powerful thing to tap into. Visually, Lost Records goes full retro without being obnoxious about it. It's not just for show, it helps ground you in the era. The way the game jumps between the mid-90s and the present day really emphasises how memory distorts and preserves things, just like old tapes warping over time. You get these moments that look like they were pulled straight from a scrapbook, with the graphics, the messy handwriting, the stickers, all of it screams DIY and personal. It's the kind of stuff that makes you feel like you've just found an old box of your own stuff. All of this, the music, the visuals, the time-hopping structure, comes together to create a deeply emotional experience. It really captures that universal feeling of teenage intensity, friendships that feel life or death, music that becomes your lifeline, and the bittersweet ache of looking back on the good old days. Don't Nod has always been good at this kind of storytelling, but Lost Records hits a different note. It's a little rougher, a little louder, but just as heartfelt. For most of the game, I quite liked how the game tackled each character's unique reactions to the big reveal at the end of Tape 1, which I am going to reveal in 5 seconds. This is a warning for the ending of Tape 1, so I'm counting down. I hope you're gone now, because the reveal is that Kat has cancer. It's a very unique feeling, and I loved how the game explored the concept of preemptive grief. We'll start off with Swan. Swan was already grappling with the impending move to Canada, making her summer in Velvet Cove feel fleeting. The revelation of Kat's illness further intensifies this sense of urgency. Her camcorder, which is initially a tool for capturing memories, becomes a means to immortalise their dwindling time together. Swan's struggle is twofold. She's torn between documenting their experiences and being present within them, all while the shadow of Kat's condition looms large. Autumn feels blindsided by Kat's secret. Her sense of betrayal stems from being kept in the dark, leading to feelings of isolation. As someone who values honesty and connection, Autumn's world is shaken. She grapples with the realisation that even the closest bonds can harbour secrets. prompting her to reassess her relationships and her role within the group. Depending on your choices, she can really distance herself from the group in this tape, which is a shame. She also feels deeply hurt by Nora not calling her after the reveal. Kat's news really hurts Nora, as she's also facing the realisation that her first crush is terminally ill, to use her own words, her gay awakening. This revelation forces her to confront emotions she hadn't fully acknowledged. The impending loss of Kat brings a mix of regret and sorrow, compelling Nora to navigate the complexities of unspoken feelings and the pain of what could have been. It's all too easy to not tell someone how you feel when you're under the impression that you'll have forever to tell them. When you're given a time limit on it, that makes everything harder. Kat, the ever-rebellious spirit, chooses to live her remaining days without restraint. Her diagnosis becomes a catalyst for embracing life on her terms, free from societal expectations. This newfound freedom is both liberating and alarming to her friends, who struggle to keep pace with her unbridled approach to life. Kat's actions challenge the group to reconsider their own fears and limitations. I even have a bonus character profile for you, aren't you guys lucky? We're also going to look at Dylan, who really grew on me as a character in Tape 2. Dylan carries the heaviest burden of all. She's not just grieving a friend, but a sister. She's watching someone she's grown up with suddenly become fragile in the most terrifying way. But Kat isn't slowing down. She's doing the opposite. She's speeding up. Dylan sees her sister spiral into a live fast, die young mindset, and there's nothing she can do to stop it. At the same time, Dylan is watching Corey, her boyfriend, who... we will talk about Corey later on. I really don't like how they handled him, but she's watching him begin his own downward slide. Dylan's always been the one to hold things together, but now she's stuck in this awful space between two people she cares about, completely falling apart in different ways, and she doesn't know how to carry both of them. In Tape 2, each character's journey is a poignant exploration of friendship, loss, and the resilience of the human spirit. Their individual responses to Kat's illness highlight the diverse ways people cope with grief and the importance of cherishing every moment. I am sorry to say that it is now spoiler time. We are going to be discussing the ending of the game now, so if you've not finished the game, go finish it and come back, because this is where things are going to get gnarly. There's going to be no structure to this, I'm warning you. I'm going freestyle mode. Let's just talk about what the hell this ending was. First of all, the ending is far too abrupt. I felt like the story was finally picking up pace. I felt as though we were just starting the third act, and as though we were witnessing the setup for the rest of the game. And then it just stopped. A lot of this has to do with Corey. In Tape 1, Corey was a dick, but he wasn't irredeemable. Dylan was also a dick in Tape 1, but her behaviour was recontextualised by the reveal of Kat's illness. Corey should have been handled in a similar fashion. I'm not saying he should have had the exact same development as Dylan's, because that would be very lazy writing, and usually don't do that. But his dickish behaviour should have been recontextualised by Kat's illness, but the game does the complete opposite. He becomes a borderline pantomime villain in this game, with zero redeemable qualities. He is a straight up evil person in this game. He breaks Swan's camera just because he enjoys the power trip. He constantly hurls insults at his girlfriend's terminally ill little sister. He chases the girls through the woods on his bike. He tries to burn them alive. Hello? This was the point where the game was starting to really lose me. We have established long before this that Corey is a dick. But this is insane, and it's not a natural build-up to this either. He's filled with rage and not thinking clearly, I get that, but they really rushed his development. Hell, I would argue they didn't develop it at all. He's just like this now. Again, he was always a dick, but he was never, I'm going to burn alive 4 teenage girls because they hurt my feelings level of dick. Maybe he was somehow controlled by the abyss. In the ending sequence you can see his eyes go a bit funny, but if that's the case the game never confirms it, and hoping baseless theories bail out your lack of character development isn't good enough. Now to go further into the ending. I apparently got the second rarest one, which I thought was a bit strange, but maybe this is different for others, but this was my experience with the ending and it felt so abrupt. My understanding is that since the girls asked the Abyss to keep them safe, it did that by taking Corey, and it wanted something in return, so it took Kat. That was my interpretation. I'm not saying this is 100% what happened. If you see anybody out there telling you a definitive 100% explanation, then they aren't giving you that. They are also just interpreting it too. And that's fine. No issues with the fact that if the ending was the Abyss took Corey to save the girls and it wanted something in return, so it took Kat, that's fine. I have no issues there. My main issue is how Kat just disappears. We don't see the Abyss take her. She just goes blue and then fades away. And not one character reacts to this. What are we doing here? Dontnod, you are better than this. The whole thing just felt far too abrupt. I thought we were beginning the third act and then the game ended. There's also the issue with the shadows popping up. I absolutely love the idea of shadowy figures popping up for a second. My interpretation is that this is people in the Abyss, possibly Swan and Kat from the future. I think that's a cool idea if that is what they're doing. That's been implemented really poorly for two key reasons. The first is that they aren't on the screen long enough. I had a clip saved, I pray to God I can find it for the video, where I recording it because I thought I saw a really weird texture glitch. So I watched it back, and no, it wasn't a texture glitch. It was definitely a shadowy figure. They need to be on the screen for, I would say, double the length that they are. In their current state, it just looks completely messy. Secondly, the characters never react to this. If I saw this shadowy figure pop up, and I wasn't sure if it was a shadowy figure or if it was a texture glitch, and then Swan made a slight gasp or a, huh? That would be more than enough for me to realise, oh no, that was actually part of the game. I'm not saying we needed an exaggerated, what was that? Because that would disrupt the intended vision substantially, but a subtle nod would definitely have gone a long way. Now for the present day ending. My understanding is that depending on your choices, you could be on your own when you open the box, or you could only have one of Autumn and Nora with you. Now, since I'm such a likeable guy, I had both of them there. And I have no idea if I'm alone in this, but I was very disappointed by the contents of the box. All of this build-up, all of this tension, and it's a box of mementos from Kat before she died. Don't get me wrong, it was emotional sifting through the memories, and I love that we got the camera back, and I thought that the video Kat recorded on it was beautiful and emotional. The execution of the idea was perfect. I just expected a lot more from the box given how it was built up. But again, I have media comprehension skills. I know that even though the hook of the game was what's in the box, I know that wasn't the point of the story. The point of the story was to explore the timelessness of friendship and so on. The point was the relationships we built, not whatever was in the box, but I still feel underwhelmed by what we got. Then things get better. The scene in the bar where the girls played their song again was beautiful, with Ghost Cat looking happy that they all found each other again. It was stunning, a truly wondrous moment that I won't forget anytime soon. Then, the game does something I absolutely hate, something that's even more egregious in the context of this game specifically. It's sequel baits. Swan returns to the Abyss to see Kat standing there, and Swan chooses to jump into the Abyss, where Kat reveals that she's not in fact dead, she's been alive in the Abyss for the past 20 years, and challenges Swan to come find her. Sequel baiting in general is annoying, but there are specific instances where it's the correct narrative choice. Lost Records is not one of those instances, and let me explain why. Lost Records is a game that is drenched in mystery. After Tape 1, we had a truckload of unanswered questions, mostly centred around the void. What the hell is it? What is down there? Why is it there? How long has it been there? Why did it want to help the girls? Why do a bunch of birds nosedive into it? And none of these questions are answered at all. You cannot leave so many questions centred around the core narrative unanswered and then have the audacity to sequel bait. Sequel baiting only works when the experience itself feels complete on its own. A sequel to a thing is supposed to be more of that thing, a continuation of that thing. A sequel should not be where you find the answers to the questions set up in the first thing. If you think about some of the best sequels of all time, not necessarily games, you talk movies, TV shows, books, the original thing will feel complete on its own, with the hook of potentially getting more. That is a good sequel bait. Lost Records does not feel complete. It feels like we should have had at least one more tape here. And do you want to know why Dontnod decided to sequel bait this egregiously? Why they decided to not answer the majority of questions we have? I'm going to put my media comprehension skills to the test once again, and I'm going to float out a theory. This may be the cynic in me, but if you're a long-time subscriber, then you will know that, especially when it comes to Dontnod, I prefer to give developers the benefit of the doubt in regards to their creative vision. But I genuinely think that the reason they didn't give us any of these answers is because they do not have them. I don't think they've decided what the void is. I don't think they've decided any of the questions I mentioned a minute ago, and there is evidence to support this. Everything is left so open-ended. Not only have they not answered any questions, but they have intentionally not written themselves into a corner where they can't get out of. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, definitive about the void. I could clickbait you in the title and make this an ending explained video. In fact, do not click on any Lost Records ending explained videos unless you just want to hear theories, because that's all they are. Nobody can explain the ending to you because it's all speculation. They have intentionally left every single aspect of this ending up to interpretation, and I truly believe the reason for that is that they do not have the answers themselves yet. Could I be wrong? Of course, but I am extremely experienced in this sort of thing, and this is just how it seems to me. I hope I'm wrong. With all of that said, do I want a sequel? You can bet your booty I want a sequel. I will be there day one. I'll be annoyed at them for doing things this way, and I hope they don't run into the same problem Lost had, where they presented mysteries without yet having the answers, and then when you do get the answers, there is no concrete way to satisfy the expectations. Thank you for making it this far. Thank you for listening to me rant, but hey, you seem to like it for double exposure, so maybe you prefer it when I delve into an unhinged ramble, but alas, that is all for today. If you enjoyed the video, then please consider leaving a like, as it really does help me out, and also please consider subscribing. As I mentioned, we are trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I upload at least one video a week. Lately I've been doing 2, but for now, that is all. Have a nice day, and goodbye.